This month I'm participating and co-hosting a super fun readathon called Escape The Readathon. It is organized by Lexi from Books with Lexi, so I will link her announcement video below. It's not too late to join, so do check it out if it sounds fun to you. Basically, there are 4 teams. I am in Team Partiers, and we're all racing to be the first team to escape a haunted house. So we have to hurry up and read books, and when we as a team accumulate enough read books to reach a door, we will be given 2 reading prompts, and only one of them will unlock the door. So we have to come up with a strategy as a team to make sure we read enough books of the right prompt. It sounds more confusing than it is when you're actually doing it. But anyways, the point is that most of the time you can read whatever you want and then you get surprise prompts. So you can't really plan out what you're going to read. And for that reason, I wanted to make sure that I had books that would cover as many prompts as possible. And although I definitely have enough books in my house to be able to do this, I wanted to cover all my bases. So I went to my local library and picked out 9 different books that I think could fit a huge variety of prompts. They are still mostly horror, but I just wanted to have a variety of books that I could read whenever the surprise prompts show up. So today I'm just going to show you what I picked out. This is Michelle's Melancholia, where we read books to fear and shed a tear. And today I'm going to show you the books I borrowed from my library. The first one is The Return by Rachel Harrison, which is an author I've been wanting to read for a while now, because I hear she is really good at writing about the experiences of women. So I'm curious about that. And this one specifically is about a group of friends, and one of them goes missing. And then 2 years later, she comes back. They all go on a trip together, and as the weekend unfurls, it becomes impossible to deny that the Julie who vanished 2 years ago is not the same Julie who came back. But then who or what is she? Then I got The Demonologist by Andrew Piper. And this one I've also wanted to read for ages because I love demons, obviously. And this is about a professor who's an expert in demonic literature. So as part of his job, he has to go to Venice. And he takes his daughter with him. And I'm not sure what happens. I just know that taking the daughter was not a good idea. And there's probably demons involved. Then I got Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes, and this has been described as a haunted house in space. And lately I'm really into horror sci-fi, so I'm hoping this will give me some of that. I've heard mixed reviews, but I'm hopeful. The main plot is about a group of astronauts who find a spaceship that had previously disappeared. So they go on board to investigate, and obviously things went wrong back then, and I guess they're gonna find out why. The next one is probably the one I'm most excited for, and I would prioritize it if it fits any of the prompts, and that is Tell Me I'm Worthless by Alison Romfit. I've read this one's pretty intense. I know very little about the plot. I think there's 2 friends. One is a trans woman and another one is a cis woman, and they go together into a house where something really awful happens. And then years later, they are still dealing with the consequences of that day. Clearly, I don't know much about it. But it says it is a vital work of trans horror that confronts both supernatural and real-world terrors. It examines the devastating effects of trauma and the way fascism makes us destroy ourselves and each other. So it does indeed sound very intense. Then I wanted to get something small in case I was in a hurry, so I picked out The Case Against Satan by Ray Russell. I think this is a classic possession story. It is from 1962. It sounds kind of like The Exorcist because it is about a young girl that gets possessed and then there's 2 priests trying to exorcise her. So yeah, I just thought there's no way I could go wrong with this one. This month there's also another event called the Zombiethon, and that is organized by Kat from Kat's Novel Adventures, and it revolves around reading books and watching movies about zombies. So I definitely want to read a zombie book. I do have World War Z somewhere in my pile of books that I actually borrowed from a friend. So that's my top priority, but I wanted to have another option, so I borrowed Pontypool Changes Everything by Tony Burgess. I really don't know what this is about. There is no description anywhere in the book, there's just blurbs. But for many years, I've heard so many awesome things about it, and I've heard that the movie is also pretty good, so I would like to do that comparison. But yeah, I really don't need to know what it's about, just that it's zombies. Then I have Black Mamba by William Friend. And I've borrowed this from the library for a couple times now and I never get to it, so maybe this will be the month. By the way, I was intrigued because I've never heard anyone talk about this book, and I discovered that this hasn't been published in the US yet, but it will be in October under a different name and cover. The title in the US is going to be Let Him In. And this is about a man who's a widower and he's living with his two daughters, I believe, and they start seeing a creature who's acting as their imaginary friend. And I have no idea what else happens, but it's supposed to be a gothic story that touches on themes of grief and sexual desire. I don't know, sounds like it could be all over the place, but it also could be a very original story. Then I borrowed Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey. This is quite a famous book that I haven't had the chance to read. This is more of a thriller, I think, and it is about a woman that goes back to her childhood home where her dad was a serial killer. I've also heard mixed feelings about this one. I've heard that it is a bit predictable, and without even having read that, I feel like I already know where it's going to go, but I want to be surprised and maybe I am wrong. So I'm definitely looking forward to this one. And the last one I borrowed is maybe the most different, because it's more of a romance, which is definitely not my usual, but it still has some elements that really capture my attention, and that is Anatomy, a Love Story by Dana Schwartz. If there is a story that you can guarantee that I will want to read, is one where a woman in Edinburgh in like the 1800s wants to become a medical doctor, but she's not allowed, so she finds a way to become a doctor. And that's exactly what we have going on here. Other than that, in this book, I'm pretty sure the love interest helps this woman obtain cadavers to practice her medical skills in maybe not the most lawful of ways. So yeah, even though I'm not much into romance, I think this has so many elements that I'm drawn to that I think I'll enjoy it regardless. So that is all I've borrowed from the library. As I said, I just wanted to be prepared for anything. And as always, if you have any recommendations or any thoughts on any of the books I showed you, please leave me a comment below. Also, let me know what book are you the most excited to read this month, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye!